This video, I'm already expecting it's gonna be here, and today, in this video, I'm already expecting it's um, gonna be some mixed reviews. If you guys have already gone down, left a dislike, and left a mean comment, I mean, clearly you clicked on this video just because it was gonna make you mad, so can't really change that. But for anyone who's actually interested in talking about this topic, feel free to stick around, and we can hopefully have a pretty nice discussion down in the comments section. I'd actually really like to discuss this one because I feel like there's a lot of different things at play with this one. And of course, I'm sure I'll be doing a couple of follow-up videos after this weekend with the playoff season finale coming up here in 2 days. So definitely think I'm getting into doing some follow-up videos on this topic. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this video, and let's get right into it. RPM and Bubba Wallace to the rumors about them going to Toyota. I think, and I'm also going to state some bias here right now early on in the video. I do personally really like the idea of this happening, and at least the concept. Now, of course, in reality, this could be a big flop as well, but I can't get, to be honest, with Richard Petty Motorsports, it can't get much worse for them. I mean, they've tried the Ford pattern. They couldn't make it. They couldn't get any momentum going with Ford. They switched to Chevrolet. They couldn't get any momentum going. They still have yet to get much forward momentum going, and I think they are currently at the peak of the Chevrolet without switching technical alliances. Like, I think they would have to switch to a Ganassi or Hendrick technical alliance to really move forward in any significant way. And I don't see them teaming up with Ganassi, considering, first off, of course, Ganassi offering Bubba Wallace that contract. And also the fact that Ganassi is actually looking into partnering with, I think it's Spire. So definitely some interest there from a couple different places for Ganassi. So it would be another team going under the Hendrick umbrella if they stay with Chevrolet, if they want to improve. Because I truly, like, the reason I think this will happen is I think Richard Petty Motorsports needs to make some sort of step to at least give Wallace a reason to believe that they are going to improve. Because right now, I mean, the progress has been slow, and Wallace is definitely gaining a lot of sponsorship that is purely around him. And if he signs that team ownership agreement that has reportedly been offered to him, I mean, he will need to see something that will make him think this is his team for this team partnership thing will work out for the long haul. Otherwise, it'll just be a really big mistake, I feel like, for Wallace's career. And to be honest, I think Toyota is the most competitive manufacturer to switch to. Because if you switch back to Ford, even if you can get a Stewart-Haas alignment, I don't know if that'll be necessarily as strong. Because while Kevin Harvick is clearly the class of the field most weeks, and trust me, it gets old. But I don't really see them getting. I mean, look at Cole Custer, Clint Boyer on a weekly basis. I mean, they aren't that much. They're a significant portion off of their teammate. Almirola's been okay, but again, that's 2 out of 4 cars. You add a 5th car. Do you think that average of the 5th string car is going to go up or down? Because I don't see Bubba Wallace becoming any higher of a priority, especially with the added rumors about maybe Briscoe going to the 32 and increasing that technical alliance with Haas as well. So I don't really see many options for them in the Ford camp. Of course, the Chevrolet camp, I've kind of already mentioned. Hendrick Motorsports would really be their only option to move up the Chevrolet food chain, essentially. So, and Toyota, they'd move right up to that 5th slot immediately, and that's the entirety of Toyota. They'll be 5th overall for competition, as opposed to in Ford and Chevrolet, where it's pretty well spread out on the competition side of things. And that would also leave a potential expansion for, of course, Joe Gibbs to bring back in maybe an Eric Jones or bring up a Harrison Burton in the not so distant future. I don't think Burton's ready yet, so I definitely don't want to see him in the Cup Series in 2021. I think 2023, 2024, assuming Burton continues to show improvement at a steady rate, and I think that would be an okay time to move him up. But also, if they could get an Eric Jones back under their kind of banner there, I could see that being pretty good. So yeah, that's a big portion of why I think this would be a great move, and I think it would move them up the pecking order a ton in terms of line of support. And of course, if you look at the Toyotas, sure, Kyle Busch hasn't won a race, and Eric Jones hasn't really done all that much, and is probably going to miss the playoffs. But if you look at it, I mean, you got Denny Hamlin, another one of those drivers. That's a contender every single week. Again, I know it gets old. And then you've got the and then you've got Martin Truex Jr., who, while he's only won the one race so far this year, he's been solid all season. Kyle Busch, too, while being inconsistent, has also been solid. He hasn't gotten a win yet, of course, which is why everybody's kind of trashing him, and I think with good reason. I think he should win. He should have won a race by now, but he is still putting up better results than, obviously, Richard Petty Motorsports. And even looking at their aligned teams, I mean, look at all the Chevy teams. I think Kyle Busch has outperformed all the Chevys except for Chase Elliott this year on an average, if I had to guess. I mean, I haven't looked at the overall point standings. Maybe Bowman's up there as well. But really, other than that, there's really no Chevy. I mean, that's the top of the top for Chevy. And they're just about equaling the third string Gibbs car, essentially, with Kyle Busch. Now, I don't know exactly how they deal out their equipment, but, I mean, if you can move up and essentially take well, let's say he goes to the fifth string. So let's say he ends up being equaled out to around a William Byron level. That's still a playoff ride. I mean, that's still a top 16 ride where he could compete for a title. That would put him right on par with guys like Matt DiBenedetto, who, again, a lot of people have seen a lot of improvement, and if Bubba's as good as they say he is, he'll outperform that equipment, and I think he could get it to a top 10 points finish in the regular season, make the playoffs, and maybe make a deep run one of these next couple years. And now I'm going to get to the point where a lot of people, I think, have probably already mentioned this. Toyota, the team killer. I'm probably going to go more in depth with this with another video because I don't want this one to drag on for an hour. But I know a lot of people are probably going to mention, well, RPM's just going to die in the next year or two as a Toyota aligned team. If you look at the Toyota aligned teams that have recently fallen, Furniture Row and Levine, those are the two Toyota affiliated teams. Both have gone out of business while partnered or having recently been partnered with Joe Gibbs Racing. First off, I think you got to look at, well, I'll address the Levine one because I think it's a little easier. I think with the financial situation, I mean, Joe Gibbs didn't want this to happen, clearly, because, I mean, now that he had to cut one of his two star drivers for the future, I mean, I think he wanted to try and stabilize another team. But, of course, they did not have stable funding. And, of course, with this virus impacting his business in Texas, just didn't have an option to keep the team open without letting his, 15, 20-year-old business in Texas just die. So, that was not an option. So, Levine Family Racing, I don't think you can really place next to any blame, really, on Joe Gibbs Racing for that. Because I think if they were still a Chevy team, I think they would still be out of business here in 2020 with everything that's happened. And to be honest, I think they might have gone out of business even sooner in the year because they wouldn't have had any of that maybe Toyota Lifeline money going into them to try and help keep them alive this long to at least finish out the season. If they stayed a Chevy team and say, let's say DiBenedetto still went there, just not as a Toyota team. I mean, DiBenedetto, he didn't bring a whole lot of funding himself to that team, so... and Bell only brought, I think, 4 or 5 races worth of that Ream money from Brandon Jones's father. So, in the end, I don't think you can really blame Toyota for the Toyota and Joe Gibbs for the Levine Family Racing shutting down. Now let's get to Furniture Row, because that's where I think you can place a little bit more blame on Joe Gibbs, because yes, they did up the price for the technical alliance, but again, if you look at it, Bass Pro Shops, they were clearly willing to stay with the team and even up the and they even upped the number of races that they sponsor per year when they came over to Joe Gibbs Racing with MTJ. So clearly, the sponsor there wasn't super committed to Furniture Row as they were to MTJ and advancing him in his career. Then you also have to look at, okay, he had a health scare in 2017, like a week or two before the championship, where he had that heart attack. And just looking at the posts on social media building up to that, I wasn't too surprised that his interest in NASCAR seemed to wane, kind of like with Bob Levine. So, now the contrast here is, look at Richard Petty Motorsports. Richard Petty. Now, I know he doesn't call the shots, but Richard Petty is not going to give up on NASCAR. He is the king. He is the winningest driver. No one will ever catch that record. No one will ever catch the King's record. I'm just going to say that right there. 200 Cup wins, not going to get caught by any driver ever. Just modern rules, how close the competition is now. You'll never see a driver be able to pull that off in a career. And then you've got to look at, okay, they've got solid sponsorship that is strictly Bubba Wallace. So unless they try and make room for Bubba Wallace on the main Joe Gibbs Racing team, there's no way they can, even if they wanted to eventually kill off Richard Petty Motorsports, I don't see a way they could do it without getting Bubba Wallace on their main team, which clearly it looks like, at least for the foreseeable future, they've got their 4 slots. Unless Christopher Bell falls off a cliff, performance-wise, I don't see, or if Bubba turns out to be an absolute super mega star, I don't see a way that they are able to find a way to, even if they wanted to kill Richard Petty Motorsports. Also, look at Joe Gibbs. I think he has a Super Bowl, as a Super Bowl winning coach and a Daytona 500 winning not crew chief, but team owner. He definitely respects the amount of talent that Richard Petty had as a driver, and I'm sure would want to see Richard Petty's legacy continue. So I think that's another reason why that would be a little bit more stable, is that I don't see that as being a team that, I think that's 2 guys that would really just bond, and to be honest, might make those teams even closer than Furniture Row even got with Joe Gibbs Racing. And then you got to bring it to what Bubba Wallace has said himself in interviews, and how he's looking for a real close family connection, almost like to feel like family. And at least from what I can see from what I can see as an outsider, of course, I'm just a guy up in Maine. I'm not anywhere near on the inside. I've never had pit road access or anything for a Cup race ever. I've never spoken to Joe Gibbs. I think I've only met one of their drivers ever, which was Martin Truex Jr. When I was in the infield for Xfinity, for the pre-race for the Xfinity series last year for the night race. And to be honest, though, from what I can see, at least on social media, it seems like those drivers and team owner really do make a close-knit bond, and that's what Joe Gibbs really seems to bring. Is he brings a family-style mentality, and even, look at the plate races back when it was Matt Kenseth, Carl Edwards, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch, and even MTJ when they were affiliated in 2016. It was the Gibbs flying formation. They would stick together the whole race, and then at the end of the race, they would make their move to try and win it. Sure, they didn't dominate the plate races or anything, but that 2016 Daytona 500 changed the way racing has happened there. So I think that would create a very family-feeling move for Bubba Wallace. And, of course, it would give the step forward in progress that Bubba Wallace would be looking for to sign that ownership deal with Richard Petty Motorsports, which is another reason I don't think it would be as easy to pull Bubba Wallace away from that team. And also, Richard Petty Motorsports will always feel more homely to him than going over to the main Joe Gibbs. But being an affiliate car would still raise their level of competition. So, all in all, at least from what I can see, I don't really see a whole lot of the a whole lot of negatives. Now, I know that there are certainly some that could prop up. Like, of course, if it turns out that Bubba Wallace gets his equipment upgrade and runs the same 15th to 20th every week, you could certainly say, okay, at that point, maybe it was a mistake for Bubba Wallace, because then you might start to see some sponsors lose interest. But, I mean, if you're looking at it, though, right now, the way it looks, and assuming Bubba Wallace is as good as everybody says he is, or at least comparable to how I think he can run, I see no reason why companies like DoorDash, Columbia Sportswear, who are some others that he's picked up recently? He's picked up like 5 or... He pretty much has a weekly sponsor announcement that he makes, where he announces a new sponsor for 5 to 6 races. And I mean, there's no driver pulling in that kind of money, and it's not like he's taking the money from other drivers. DoorDash would not be in NASCAR if it weren't for Bubba Wallace. So, and also, Bubba Wallace is the face NASCAR needs. I think NASCAR would also back him to try and keep him in the sport if it came down to a situation where he did start to lose some of that funding. So yeah, all in all though, I'm going to try and wrap this video up because we've already been going for almost 20 minutes on this one. But yeah, so in the end, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments section. Of course, I'm sure there are those people that just genuinely dislike Toyota and don't want to see them succeed at all, and are actually, to be honest, I think a little upset that they have been so successful over the last several years with Denny Hamlin, MTJ, Kyle Busch. But I mean, hey, they put in the money and they're getting back the reward from it. And hey, if Bubba Wallace can go over there and reap the reward, I will see no problem with that. I'd love to see Bubba Wallace get that first Cup win for himself. Maybe even pull off a Daytona 500. And hey, a championship, that's not too far out of reach either if he can get that upgrade in equipment. And as I said, I think he could make a deep playoff run. And of course, with the playoff format, you just need to get lucky at the right time, and you can be a champion, just like Kyle Busch and Joey Logano, 2 guys that I think a lot of people discount their championships, but they've definitely earned them, I would say. So that's pretty much it for this video. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the whole Richard Petty Motorsports to Toyota rumors. I know there's going to be some strong opinions, so let me know them down in the comments section. I'm interested. I'll be reading all the comments, so feel free to let me know your guys' opinion down there. If you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Subscribe if you guys are new so you guys never miss an episode or live stream. And I will see you guys in the next video, live stream, or whatever you decide to do with the rest of your night. Have a great night, everybody. Goodbye!